Good day. I am Amma Duncan, founder of the Fabulous Woman Network. I love to support the growth of women and leaders and women in business and people through coaching, mentoring, training, events, writing, so that we can grow, create wealth, impact people as fabulous children of God. Now, Mind Your Business is this show where each week I get to interview another fabulous person, or I get to share something that I believe will be of value to you. So if you're new here, welcome. Do subscribe to this channel. Please don't forget. And when you're done listening, if this has been of value to you, as I'm hoping it would, kindly share this video or audio, okay? Well, so today on Mind Your Business, I am interviewing, oh my goodness, an old friend. So if you've been following the Fabulous Woman Network for a while, then you see that about 6 or so years ago, we shared her beautiful, beautiful story. And I'm so happy to have the opportunity to interview her again. For me, she's become like a sister, really. Her name is Rosalin Abigail Kyere-Nartey. Rosalin is a seasoned and successful leader with a track record of producing, presenting, and managing the implementation of innovative hospitality and tourism business solutions and services in Africa and across the world in the past 15 years. Rosalin is a person with dyslexia who started reading and writing at age 17. She holds MSc International Hospitality Management from Swiss Hotel Management School in Switzerland. She is a Walt Disney Hospitality Leadership Fellow and worked as Guest Experience Manager at Walt Disney World, U.S.A. Currently, Rosalin is the lead consultant at Mundo, which is a hospitality and education consulting firm, Swiss Education Group country rep for Ghana-Liberia-Sierra Leone, and founding curator of Dodowa Hub of Global Shapers Community and founder of Africa Dyslexia Organization. This woman is so passionate and she has such a beautiful spirit. And look, just sit tight, grab your cuppa or something and enjoy this interview. I'm so grateful to have you again.
Thank you so much for having me. It's always a joy to speak with you one-on-one. So I can't wait for us to go into the
Yes. Right. I mean, I've read your bio, which is like just a tiny bit of what I know you do. And I know some people may know you already, but there are also people who may not know you. And so for the purpose of these people, I want you to start by telling us about the, young Rosalin and growing up. Have you always been this glamorous woman traveling to every corner of the world, doing amazing things? Who was Rosalin growing up?
Oh, I wish, when I today is what? Is it Friday?
Yeah, today is Friday.
And you're coming to let me dive into my childhood. That means I'm going to go into the weekend being so sorrowful and all that. But what happened?
That's not what I want.
No, but it's good. I mean, it's good to share because I feel like my story kind of help parents and a lot of people to understand that every person you see or every child you see has a great potential. And when attention and resources are given and with the help of God, that child can turn up to be good. And so labeling children when they are young with certain words are not something that we should be doing as parents and even people in neighbors who come in contact with kids. So I was one of the girls that was classified as lazy, dumb, good for nothing, like you will not amount to anything just because of my inability to really perform well academically. And so all emphasis were placed on that aspect. Say, if you're not passing your exams, if you're not doing well academically, then there is nothing good to come out of you. And so that's how I continue. But for me, where it really kind of even worried me was when I was in JHS, and I was almost turning 18 and I was still in JHS. Yes, I think a few months after BC was when I turned 18. And it was because I was repeating class all the time. And even at BC, the school, I was going to a preparatory school. They called my parents and told them that, unfortunately, we can't add Rosa to our candidates to sit for the exams because we scared she's going to like taint or our results. And this is a high performing school. And so if they think I'm outgrowing JHS3, then they advise that they take me to maybe a village somewhere, and that village school probably could accommodate to register me as part of their candidate. So that's what my parents did. We went to a village and they got me registered. So I studied in my preparatory school, and when it got to the week of the BC, so preparatory school were not wearing the brown and the yellow uniform. But then this time around, my parents have to sew one for me and change from my, just imagine, I'm a mother, so you understand, and change from my uniform and wear this brown thing that I really haven't even come across with it before, and wore it and joined my people, like those people from the village, and we sat and we wrote the exams. But one thing is, even when you change school and you're a newcomer, just imagine how intimidating it is. And exam time, and people are pointing, so who is she? Why has she been all this? Why is she part of us? Like all those things. And when you are even walking from home to the exam center, people who know you will be asking about, why are you wearing this uniform? Like what has come of you? And for me, this experience really caused harm to me, and it brought really my self-esteem down, that it's something that I'm still repairing till today. That really damaged me, that even when they can have the skills and experience for, I still question myself like, hey, I cannot do anything about it. And until really pinch myself before I pull myself forward and be like, yeah, this is for me. I can do it. This is how severe the impact is. And somebody will be like, how about this thing happening when you were like 18? Why are you still saying that it has? It did. Because I heard so many words of, you're not good, you are good for nothing, and all those words. And then finally, my school proved to me that, yes, you are indeed not good. And so I had kind of accumulated all those things very much onto me. And that's basically how my childhood started. So the results came, and of course, I failed poorly. I think I had grade 31. And so I was never able to enter SHS. So I never sat in an SHS class. And that's also one thing that pained me till today, that people see vocational schools and they feel like, oh, the people that goes to vocational school are people just like me, or labeled just like me. But for me, I will say that if I hadn't gone to a vocational school, I wouldn't be the Rosalin I am today. I would have wasted my time if my parent had tried to say that, let's go and pay a bribe and get her to go to SHS. They would have wasted me. I thank God they just listened or gave me that opportunity that you can go to a vocational school, and I went. And if I have to do it again, I'll take the insult out, but I'll still go back to vocational school.
Wow, what an amazing story. And as you were just talking about having to change uniforms, I was just picturing, I was like, oh my God. I mean, the school, of course, for them, they thought they were doing the best that they could, but they didn't know. Yeah. They didn't know. Oh my gosh, Rosalin. Anyway, so tell me, from then, what happened? Because now, I mean, how is it possible that someone you went to vocational school and then now you're like, no, you have to fill in the gap for us. Let us understand what happened along the way for you. Now you consult for Walt, Disney and all. So please fill in the gaps.
So, when I went to vocational school, I did catering. So I studied food, and that was where I started even really picking my reading and writing. Because mind you, when we were writing the BC, I don't think I was able to really read anything on the paper. I was still not able to read. And to date, I'm somebody who can't really read. So I avoid things reading in public and those things. It's not my strength, and there's nothing I can do about it because my challenge was never addressed, and so I grew with it. And now it's not the time to say that I'm going back to the classroom to really learn properly. But then I find different mechanisms as to how to make my journey a bit easier for me. So through the vocational school, I started performing. To the surprise of everybody, I started performing. Now I understand why I started performing, because I've come to understand that I'm someone who learns by doing. So practicals and seeing. And so if you put me in a lecture hall, like you go to the universities and you're like 200 in a lecture hall and the teacher is talking and talking and talking, everything will just pass and go out of my mind. Nothing will stick. You have to engage me in a more like multi-sensory way of like learning, teaching me, and me practicing and you showing me. That is how it sticks. And so that's what the vocational school presents, right? Because as somebody doing catering, I'm going to do practicals, I'm going to do cooking. So if you ask me to do, let's say, pizza, of course, I'm going to have my flour, I'm going to have my egg, I'm going to have my cheese, I'm going to have my tomatoes. And I'm seeing these things. So tomatoes, I see tomatoes. It registers in my mind. It makes sense. But tomato, I'm not seeing anything. What do you think tomato will be like for me? So that's how I started. My mind started opening up. And I remember the first time my dad took me to school, he reported me to the proprietaries and said, oh, my daughter, I don't have any expectation of her. Just let her pass through this school and let's see what comes. And so when he was coming back for me, they called him and said, oh my goodness, is this the same daughter you described? Because she's really good. I mean, come and see her shining, see her reports. And my dad was like, are you guys sure this is her result? And maybe you have been mistaken. And they were like, no, that's Rosalin's results slip. She's doing very well. And for me, those words, Mrs. Ameteme, Liberty International Incorporated, said that she's good. She's doing very well. Oh my goodness. It was like the first time in my life, ever since my educational experience, somebody saying that to me. So I held on to that and I said, oh, really? That's the case. Then I'm going to be good for the rest of my life. And from that day to date, it's been like nonstop, chasing and making sure I prove to everyone that I'm actually good, but you guys are wrong. And so that's how I went through the catering school for 3 years, came to the industry and worked. My first place was Crystal Royal Hotel at Jolie Junction. Now it's Fiesta Royal. That was my first place. I think at the age of 21, I started working already. So my mates who finished SHS, at the time they finished, I had also finished my catering school, but I was working and started earning money. So I started experiencing life earlier and it was exposed to luxury because I mean, the hotel environment. And so I was exposed to that luxury life and where life possibility and you meeting all kinds of people because it's a hotel, people are coming there. And I think my first place of work also did quite a good thing to me because I did catering, I was supposed to be in the kitchen. But of course, the HR also saw something in me and really exposed me to all the departments in the hotel. And that was where she told me, like, hey, I think you're good with catering, but I also think you have great interpersonal skills. The guests love you, people love you. And so if in future you decide to go back to school, maybe you should study hospitality management. And that was how, when I turned 25, I decided to go to university. Of course, because I don't have a SHS certificate, I have to sit for mature student entrance exams at GIMPA. And that's how I got myself into GIMPA to do my bachelor's degree in hospitality. Came back into the industry, worked a little bit, Melvin Peg. Then I was like, you know what? I want to create. So at that time, I set up a company. I started with RAC company, and then I changed it to Rosa Consult. My main focus was on building human capital. Just as today, I still advocate for that a lot, building human capital, because I realized that the things I was studying at GIMPA were not matching what the industry needed. So we need to train our people to be able to then work in the industry. So I started Rosa Consult for it to be a training, consulting, organizing tool. And I think in my first year of operation, then I decided I want to go to Switzerland to do my master's. And so I approached Swiss Education Group. They were in Ghana. It was a friend who used to represent them here. So I approached them. I said, I want to come to Switzerland to study. And they kind of listened to my profile and how I was talking about the industry and everything. And they were like, you think you can pause your master's for now and represent us in Ghana? And I was a way of how you can come and do your master's later. And I was like, really? So I spoke to my friend, and my friend was like, yeah, after I'm not able to sell these schools, or I'm not able to even talk about them because they are hospitality schools in Switzerland, and I don't really know anything about Switzerland. So yeah, you can go ahead. And he gave me his blessing, and they signed me as their country rep for Swiss Education Group. And that was how I got into the education side of hospitality. And now it's like, I'm passionate about training. I'm passionate about developing human capital for the industry and everything. And then I have schools where they are ranked in the top 10 hospitality schools, asking me to represent them in Ghana. So it's like, you see how the universe align everything. And at that time, I was the curator of Kumasi Hub of Global Shapers. So I started the hub over there. So I also got opportunity to go to Switzerland and to even make it really well. Then I visited the school, and they were like, you need to represent us. And that was how my journey started with them. And it's been 9 years now, and we are still going with them, where now we get to represent them in Sierra Leone, Liberia, and Gambia, and we're about to sign them on different markets as well to expose their brand to. And now we have Emirates Hospitality Academy also wanting us to do the same. So we've signed a contract for Ghana and the other countries we're doing. And of course, other schools are also now coming up. So the future looks bright. I had to change from Rosa Consult to IQ Mundo because I later got the name. It's my name, but then when you check the meaning, it doesn't suit very well. I want to go global. And if my name means something, another word in somebody's country, that is not suitable. So I changed to IQ Mundo, which just means intelligence global. Mundo is a Spanish word, which means global. So IQ global or IQ Mundo. And that's how we're operating now. However, when I was in Switzerland, before Switzerland, Farida Bedwe listened to me giving a speech, because I used to always talk about I wasn't able to read until very late stage. And she was like, don't you think you are dyslexic? And I was like, what do you mean? I'm dyslexic? And I'm like, okay, I respect Farida. So I took it in good faith. Oh, okay, dyslexic, okay. But the moment we left the place, I was like, you know what? Me, the way I've suffered in my life, this word dyslexia is too huge. Is it a disease? Is it an illness? I will never associate myself with it. I will never. For me, people to come and now label me again as I'm dyslexic or whatever. So I forgot about her, and me, I went my way. Then fast forward, I was doing my master's, and another lecturer of mine picked up and asked if I'm dyslexic. So it's like the second time I'm here, and I said, what do you mean? And he said, because I read your work and I feel like you are dyslexic. And I was like, what? So he gave me the International Dyslexia Organization website. He said, go and read about it. So they have the screening questions. It's quite a lot. And you have to take if you experience any of them. And I think I probably, if it's 100, I take all the skill there, like you experience difficulty in reading, you find it hard reading out loud, do you lose your lines when like these are sequence questions they asked, and I was taking everything. So I went back and he said, I think you are. So I then went and seek for professional assessment, because before you can know, you need to seek. And when I did the assessment, the gentleman asked, like, even how did you from first degree to get this point, like how did you do it? He couldn't believe, because I have severe dyslexia, and he said, but it's not an illness, so just find your own strength and see how best you can go. You have done it already, so just keep going. I still didn't accept. I was so angry in me. So I came back to Ghana for holidays, and I started searching if we have organizations in Ghana who do dyslexia stuff and all that. I found one, Dyslexia Ghana, but I called their number, it didn't go through. Then I went to, they said they have Dyslexia Assessment Center in Ghana. So I went there. Oh my God, it was in a deplorable, it's still in deplorable state, like crazy. You can't even take your child there to be comfortable. But the lady there told me, no, I can get you the psychologist who come and do the assessments so that you speak to her. So I took her contact and went and met her at Rich Hospital. I said, Mora, I've done the test already, but I want you to do it again, because they say I'm dyslexic. And I don't want to be dyslexic. So Mora was like, you know what? I don't have for adults, I don't have like kits for adults that I can assess you with. And I said, how many years? They said, up to age of 13. I said, let's use it. And she was laughing, and we did it. But even with 13-year-old kids, I still struggled. I cried the day we were doing the assessment. And when we were done, she was like, Rosalin, I feel like what you're experiencing is trauma. There is some pain inside you that you haven't dealt with from your childhood. And that's why you find it hard to accept. So it's not an illness. Then he started educating me on it. So when I came back home, I was like, okay, if that's this is it, then let me ask my dad, because my dad is an educationist. So I asked him, said, Daddy, do you know about dyslexia? Then my dad was saying, he's a very good teacher. Very, very good. He said, oh, some years ago, some white man came to their school and mentioned something like that, but he didn't pay attention to it. He said, so what is it? And I educated. He said, oh my goodness, like what have we done to you? So I was like, okay, if Mr. Choi don't know dyslexia, then I'm sure a lot of people do not know dyslexia as well. So I started research, and I go to the regional office. I stand there, because almost everybody that come in the education field, and I'll ask them, do you know dyslexia? Do you know learning difficulties or learning disabilities? And they will tell me no. If I asked 50 people, I probably will get like one person who have an idea. Then I have some, because I visit schools a lot, I have some key principals in schools that I'm not going to mention their name, but I go there again and ask them, and it's like they don't know. And I'm like, oh my goodness, if that's the case, then the system has failed a lot of people. I was just fortunate by the grace of God. But how many of my types, because we all sat in the class with people who we were laughing at, like Utiabon. You understand? So how many of the Utiabons have lost hope on life, and where are they now? So somebody got to do something, and that is where I decided to start Africa Dyslexia Organization, to raise awareness, advocacy, and also give support to people with learning. I don't like saying learning disability, because for me, I don't say it as a disability, but I feel like it's a learning difference. It basically means that your child learned differently. Mm-hmm. And so if you use different mechanism in teaching the child, then the child will not get it. And so that's why, for me, I still today learn by doing with my hand or by seeing, and that is how things should be. So we at Africa Dyslexia Organization now advocating for the proper way to be, for the children to be receiving teaching in schools, and that's what we're doing now.
Wow, I've heard this story so many times, and still you brought tears to my eyes. Well, I didn't know some details anyway, so I think that's what did it for me. My goodness, Rosalin. And, God bless you that you are not sitting on this, but you've decided that, I'm going to help others. I mean, I wish people could see you as you were just talking about how you entered the Ghana, and then the place was deplorable. You just covered your face like, oh my God, this is unbelievable. You couldn't believe it. And I see the passion with which you're moving with this organization, and you really, really just want to support people. So perhaps there's a woman or somebody listening right now, and they are probably having a child or someone they know struggling to read or something. And like we do in school, we'll tease you and all. But this person has listened to you. What do you think is the first step to take towards more knowledge, learning how to deal with this and manage? What's the first step?
So the first step is when you find your child is struggling, or even if you're a teacher and you have a student in your class and you are doing everything possible, but the child is not getting it. You can't also go just by looking or by seeing some signs and being like, oh, the child is dyslexic. So that's, if not, then we'll have a lot of dyslexics in school. But you need to have screening. The first thing you can do is screening, and we have some screening links on our website. It's a set of questions that will let you take. And as many as you take, it gives you kind of an idea that, okay, your child may probably be struggling with learning difficulties, and therefore we recommend you see a proper dyslexia assessor. Okay, that's how we recommend you do. So first, kind of jotting down all the things that the child is experiencing, and you can contact us as well, and we'll link you to people or places that you can have assessment done. Once the assessment is done, you can then determine if your child is dyslexic or your child is not. So there was this case that came to us. We thought the child is dyslexic or was dyslexic. But after the assessment, we realized that the child had an issue with just eye seeing. By having been determined, so the child goes to school and whatever they are teaching on the board, he's not seeing, so he's not able to kind of match it with whatever he's hearing, and that had been delaying his learning ability. And so once they gave him the prescription that he can then see and all that, within 4 to 6 months, the child completely changed. So there are so many factors that children go through. So when they are not properly diagnosed or assessed, you might mistakenly label them with something they are not. So I always advise that don't say that, oh, Ubanitia Bonti, what is say? You've heard Rosalin is talking, so my child is dyslexic. No, let's take the proper step. Let's have assessment conducted. And then once the assessment is done, we would know the very cause that is happening to the child. And if your child is, they will give you a formal report. And that report is what you can take to your school and present it. You as a mother have to be an advocate for your child. Go to this, present it to the school and ask the school that my child needs special attention. My child needs some accommodation adjustments when it comes to, let's say, exams. If everybody is doing exams in 30 minutes, they are supposed to probably give your child about 40 to 50 minutes so that it's more time for the child to do. Not every school is willing to do this. And that is the reason why Africa Dyslexia, we're doing the advocacy and awareness that hopefully in the next 5 to 10 years, schools would then come to understand that, okay, there are children that are genuinely struggling, or there are children that are genuinely this, and we need to kind of make accommodations to them. If your child is dyslexic, it's not like your child is sick. The child is not sick. And I will repeat it again. It simply means that the child learns in different ways. We have different ways of learning. So if the school is not using that way for your child, then your child will then be like what? You say that the Tia Bombani teen boy, Richard Branson is dyslexic. The entire Martin in Ghana is dyslexic. Bishop Duncan William is dyslexic. Paul, Nana Paul Ansa is dyslexic. Ochiame Kwame is dyslexic. These are the people that we know. But what about even the people that are there, but we don't even know? Albert Einstein was a dyslexic. Walt Disney was a dyslexic. Whoopi Goldberg is dyslexic. Orlando Bloom is all these names that we hear. But look at somebody like Richard Branson, who would be thinking this guy is dyslexic? And I read one of his book, and he was like, even he has a video. He was like, I don't do anything. All that I do is I think about ideas that will change the world. And then because I don't have the capability, I bring in the people who can do it, and they bring his idea into reality. So there are people like that. You understand, Amma? So we need to do more in Ghana. We need to do more in Africa. Because when I also look at the list of famous dyslexics, and I'm only seeing Whoopi Goldberg, Will Smith, then it's few. The black is few. The black people are few. So who are the black dyslexic? Where can we find them? It's because our system have crushed them that, wow, boom, you are nothing and all that. And they lost hope on life, and we don't know where they are.
Wow, Rosa. God bless you, Wati. God bless you plenty, my sister. I know you have to go, and you've blessed us, you've enriched that, but I have a few more questions to ask you. And then, of course, I'll ask about your upcoming trip, because that one day, my audience must not miss it. Okay, so please complete the following with a short phrase or sentence. The first one: if I could advise my younger self in one short sentence, I would say,
don't mind anyone, keep dreaming.
I love it. Okay, I am fabulous because...
I'm fabulous because I am empathetic. I feel for people. I know how it feels to be down there, and I want to make sure every woman and every man or child, boy, girl, rise up to their best ability.
Great. One book that has greatly helped me in business is...
Oh my goodness. It isn't even business, but this one is called The Game of Life and How to Play It. It's by a woman called Florence Shane. It was written back in the days, like old. It's a very old book. But this book, it takes the Bible and kind of talk about how our minds project the things we think into reality. And so if you're thinking bad about yourself, my dear, you're going to be attracting bad. If you're thinking good for yourself, definitely. So if you want your business to be a success, don't start seeing your business as a mediocre business somewhere in Ghana, but see your brand international. And of course, you have to also work very hard to get it there. But it is where you project your mind and everything. And so for me, this book, when I listen, I did the audio version. When I listened to it, I apply it to all aspects of my life, my business, my personal life, and everything. And I feel like it has inspired me a lot.
Fabulous. Thank you. I just Googled it, and yes, I'm going to get to it. Thankfully, Audible, I just got my 1 credit for this month. So that's what we are doing.
Nice.
Anyway, so yeah. So your company, Swiss, so I know you represent the Swiss Educational Group, and you have a tour coming up, IQ Mundo. Please tell us about it. So you never know, people may be interested.
Yes, so we have a tour coming up in Switzerland, and if you could just give me a moment. We have one for students between the age of 14 to 20. It's on hospitality and events. So students come, they tour Switzerland. We also show them how to plan events and hospitality setting. There's one on culinary as well. So if your children, you want them to travel this coming summer so that they go and meet new people from all over the world, this is a trip for them. And of course, we have some also for family. So a family like Amma, your family, for instance, you can go on Discover Switzerland. You can do the 1 week or 2 weeks tour, and you can discover Switzerland. It's amazing. I'm going there next week, for instance, and it's amazing. However, if adults group, say Fabulous Women Network, you decide that, hey, Rosalin, let's do this and get some fabulous people. You can do like a group of 10 or 20 or 30 and take them to Switzerland 2 weeks, 1 week, and plan for them. So these things are coming up, and it's quite exciting. We'll assist with the visa processing and everything, but these people have to be also people that really can prove their bank statements and show that really they are going to be back to Ghana after the trip. So this is what we have now for the summer, and that's the fun part of it. Yeah.
Wow. Ladies, you've heard her. Do you want us to go? Shall we go to Switzerland? Should we do it this year, next year? Let me know in the comments. Anyway, Rosa, thank you so much. Last question. How do we find you? So people who are interested can just reach out to you.
So people who are interested to know more about dyslexia, you can just go to africadyslexia.org. and you would find us. And if you're interested in the trip as well, it's iqmundo.com, which is iqmundo.com. And you can call me also, or WhatsApp. Actually, I'm leaving the country, so WhatsApp me on 0243535553. And that's how you can get in touch with us. And if you have time to give you my contact.
Yes, but me, I'll charge $100 per contact. Yeah, big woman.
Big woman like money. I love it.
Thank you so much, Rosa, for making time. I know you have a class waiting, and I wish you the very best on your trip as well. We will talk, and I look forward to people giving me feedback whether we should do the Switzerland or not. If we get 10 people, we are doing it.
Yeah, let's do a poll. Let's do a
poll in the group. I will. All right, lady. You have a great day. Thank you. Love you so much, Rosa.
Love you more, Amma. Bye.
Wow, what an inspiring interview. I've heard the story, but still, that's me. It has done me. The story has gone into my inside. Anyway, I let me just keep my comments to myself. I hope you've digested this and you are musing on it. And if the story has spoken to you and you know someone that you need to share it with, please do. Some of us are beating our children because we think they are stupid or they are not as smart as other children. Oh God, may you forgive us. So what did you learn? What have you gleaned from this? Please share it in the chat. And ladies, should we do the Switzerland this year or should we move it to next year? What do you think? Let me know, okay? Until I come your way again, God willing, same time next week, you take care of yourself. You're fabulous. Yes, you may be different, but you're absolutely fabulous. And God created you in that exact way because He needs you in that exact way. Bye, toodles. I love you.